So it occurred to me this week sometime, well, before, but more this week than other weeks, that a lot of people do not know how to use a few security tools, basically to help check and keep your system clean. The program I'm going to go over right now is called Malware Bytes. It's a quick, simple scan, and when it does find something, it's usually pretty easy to clean up with it. To get Malware Bytes, you just open up your browser, preferably Firefox or Chrome, and you go to malwarebytes.org, malwarebytes.org. Then once you get there, you'll see hopefully a page similar to this, and you'll see a buy now and a free download. They do have a commercial one, works pretty good, but for most people the free one is going to be more than enough. To get it, you just click the free download, and it'll take you to one of the partner sites. In this case, it took me to Major Geeks. It might take you to a place like download.com, one of CNET sites, 2Cows. Don't worry if it doesn't look like this. This should be okay. You just download it. Let's save it, and you'll have the MBAM setup. In this case, it's 165. Just run it and install it like you normally would install any other program. Pretty much, you accept and then click next all the way through. And then it'll take you to install. I already have it installed, so I'm going to skip this. After it's finished, it'll pop up and ask you if you'd like to check for updates. You go ahead and leave those boxes checked, and then just hit check updates. It'll go to Malware Bytes site and download the latest definition files, and if there's a program update, it'll get it as well, but there shouldn't be if you just got it. There might be a definition update though, so you want to make sure you let it do that. After all said and done, it'll probably open up Malware Bytes automatically for you, but if it doesn't, you'll have an M on your desktop that says Malware Bytes, anti-malware. Double click on it. In my case it didn't do it, but in your case, if you haven't ran it in a while, it might ask you to check for updates. Again, let it check for updates, let it get them, and if there's a program update or a software update, it'll basically uninstall what you got and install the new one for you. Pretty much takes care of itself as long as you let it. But after it's all updated and you got it open, you should see something like this. It'll have quick scan, full scan, flash scan. If you've never ran an anti-malware program before, you probably want to do a full scan, and then just click the scan button. It'll ask you what drive you want to scan. You can skip your CD drives. It's highly unlikely they'll have anything on them, and if they do, there's really not much you can do about it anyway. So you want to scan your C drive and any other physical hard drives you have installed. For example, if you got a solid state drive and a traditional mechanical hard drive, you want to scan both of them. And any partitions you might have. More than likely your recovery partition, like for Windows 7, or for like say if you got a Dell and it has a recovery partition, more than likely they're okay. Malware, luckily so far, for the most part, it hasn't gone as far as to infect those. But you know, you could scan them anyway. I'm not going to do this because I've recently done it. It can take a while to do the full scan, so be prepared to wait, do it before you go to bed or before you go to work, something like that. But a quick scan, after you run the full scan at least once, the quick scan will allow you to just keep tabs on your system. If something's just not running quite right and you're not sure what, running a quick scan will basically check whatever's running in memory. So you just select it, hit scan, it'll check your Windows folder, whatever's in memory, your registry, and whatever other thing. I don't even know everything it scans, but it's pretty thorough for a quick scan. Again, depending on the speed of your computer and your hard drive, this can take a while. I would recommend cleaning out your temporary internet files or your Firefox cache or Chrome cache, I think it's called. That way it doesn't have to scan those. Now, some of the things it'll pick up, if it picks up something, it'll come up here. This object's detected. Right now it says 0. If it does find something, this will turn bold and red. It'll have 1, 10, 50, however many. Oh, that was quick. When it's done, it'll give you this report. Basically, in my case, it's telling me everything's clean. It'll tell you, well, you can see. It'll just tell you, okay, no memory process, no modules, no registry keys, that sort of thing. Just go ahead and close that. It tells you everything's okay, and that it scanned 209,000 files. In your case, you know, that is just for me. Yours might be 75,000, or it could be 500,000. It really depends on what you got on your system and what you're running. If it did detect something, you'll have a window here with a list of everything that was found and some check boxes. You just want to check pretty much everything and then hit either quarantine or remove. And that will stop it from running pretty much. After you do that, it'll ask you to restart. You just restart it, and with any luck, everything will be okay. For the most part, if it did find something, you hit quarantine, you come into here and you can see it. If everything's running okay after the quarantine, then you can just go ahead and check it all and delete all. You probably want to give it, you know, do your normal routine for a day or two and make sure everything's running okay, and then just go ahead and remove it out of here. Now, when it does return results, often it'll return advertising cookies. Generally speaking, this is not always true, but generally speaking, advertising cookies are nothing to worry about. They're basically just tracking your browser movements to see what type of advertising they should push towards you, or to track how many times you've seen an ad for Viagra. There's really not too much to worry about. They're just collecting demographics. More than likely, no real personal information is being shared with them. However, you know, some people are rather picky about that sort of thing. So it's up to you whether you keep the cookies or not. Getting rid of them won't hurt a darn thing. It just, it really doesn't do nothing, really, as far as you're concerned. So you can go ahead and just clean those out. When you go back to that site that was issuing that cookie, it'll most likely come back. Things you really need to watch out for, though, are things that say like Trojan or spyware or well, pretty much anything other than the cookie. You definitely want to get those out of there as soon as possible. So go ahead and quarantine them. Make sure you're able to boot, and then once you're booted, run another quick scan or a full scan. Make sure you're clean, and then after you're running okay for a little bit, go into your quarantine here, and then select it, and then delete it. That'll make sure it gets out of there, so next time you boot, well, I guess it doesn't even matter, it's not even running, so just make sure it gets it off your system so you don't accidentally get it back. If something does happen where you accidentally quarantine something that you actually need, if it was a false positive, it doesn't happen often, but when it does happen, it's annoying. You can come back in here, select it, and just restore it. Pretty simple. It doesn't really get much easier than this. The only other software that was about this easy that I've used was Lavasoft's Adware, and I think they're all paid now, so you probably don't want to go that route. That's pretty much it. There are some settings here. Really, just running it right out of the box is pretty straightforward. You want to make sure this is what it's set at by default, the outdated database. Just leave it there. You should be fine. You can. I wouldn't set it any more than 7. If you run it once a week, 7's perfect, actually. And then under the More tools, it does have a unlocker. So if you have a stubborn file that just won't delete, you can use this program to unlock it and then delete it. Now, I will say that if a program is locked and it's not allowing you to delete it, there's a good chance there's a reason for it. Maybe Windows is using that program. Maybe you're using something that's created a temp file, and it needs that file to function. So you want to be careful with it. If you unlock it, I wouldn't delete it right away. I would just move it, make sure everything runs okay, like create a new folder, throw it into there. Make sure everything runs okay, and then if it does, after a day or so, then delete it. Better be safe than sorry. Now, how often you run the scan, it really depends on how often and what you use your computer for. If you're just doing email and word processing, you probably don't need to run it very often, once a month maybe. If you're downloading stuff, using Facebook games, and just generally unsafe habits, you probably want to run it once a week, maybe even more than that. So it really depends on how often you use it. I run it whenever I happen to think about it. There are times when I run it and it says it's 88 days and it needs to update. So, long story short, run it once a month-ish. Unless you're doing a lot of downloading, a lot of Facebook games, then you might want to do it more. That's pretty much all there is to it. Now, if this video has helped you get a basic understanding of this, feel free to like, subscribe. It's really not a big deal, but it does help push up my numbers a little bit. I'd appreciate it. And again, also you can dislike it too, or unlike it, or whatever they call it now. Hey, at least I know you're watching it. Alright, any comments, questions, go ahead and just leave them down below.